Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for choosing our show. As it has been the norm ever since William Ruto ascended to power, all his decisions that are made either in the cabinet or just a decree from his office have always ended in the Kenyan courts. And people are wondering, why is it that everything, every mega project, every policy must end up in court? If you'd start by, but mention but just a few. When William Ruto introduced the housing levy, it went to court. When he introduced the paradigm shift, the transition from SHA to the new Taifa Care, it went to court. When he wanted to take our policemen to Haiti, that ended up in court. Every little thing, the GMO went to court. Even the illegal acceptance that the LGBTQ society have got the right to association or something was passed by the back door, and that decree was made by the Supreme Court. Every decision that Ruto makes ends up in court, and people have been asking what exactly is happening. And there have been two explanations. That one, maybe his advisors, he's got very many advisors, do not advise him well. But that has been ruled out because the people who are close to Ruto have confirmed that William Ruto does not listen to any advice. He advises his advisors instead. So that rules out that possibility. The only other explanation is that William Ruto always does his things unilaterally without consulting anyone, without including stakeholders. That is why he wants even to build a church in State House, and he says, Shauri yako, that is upon you. I have made that decision. The other, reason to complement or corroborate this feeling that William Ruto does his things unilaterally, despite the fact that some of these undertakings will affect Kenyans directly, is the fact that he has always told people. A good example, when he wanted to subject our cows for vaccination, some people opposed and they were questioning the move behind it, what had informed that decision. Ruto told them, I'm a scientist. If you question me, you are either stupid or mad. So that simply corroborates that William Ruto wants to do things as if Kenya is he's better than everyone. If you think that that is enough, just the other day he told us that he's got the courage of Jomo Kenyatta, he's got the understanding of Moi, and he's got the education of Moi Kibaki, and of course, he's got a plan that they made together with Uhuru Kenyatta. So what is Ruto saying? He is the best. Let me just finish by telling you that he once told us just recently that he has been sent by destiny to come and change our country. So that could be the reason why all his other policies end up in court. So today, another Kenyan has rushed to court. Why? Last month, there was a cabinet meeting that sat down, and the cabinet secretary for agriculture, Mutahi Kagwe, presented a case that we are likely to have a deficit of consumption in terms of rice production. And he presented a case. He wanted Kenyans to be allowed to import about 500,000 metric tons of rice. And that was approved, and it was gazetted by the CS in the Ministry of Finance, John Mbadi, on 28th. And Butai Kagwe explained that it was because we have a deficit. This is not a new norm. This is something that has been there before. But this was opposed by farmers. Butai assured Kenyans that there is nothing unique. But Kenyans, as always, there is a very big deficit of a truth gap between the government and Kenyans. So today, It is reported that High Court stops government's plan to import 500,000 tons of rice. The High Court has temporarily stopped the government from implementing a cabinet decision allowing the duty-free importation of 500,000 metric tons of rice. Justice Edward Murithi issued a conservatory order suspending a directive by Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, which had been published in a Gazette notice on July 2025. Now, someone rushed to court and he wanted this stopped. Now, you may think that some people have got some personal vendetta against Ruto's progress in the government. But I want you to listen to Anne Waiguru also questioning this move, and she had some reservations against it. As we do this, please subscribe to our channel if you're watching us for the first time. Click the notification bell, like and share our videos. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Anne Waiguru.
Kirinyaga County, just like it's number 2 in coffee production, and 25% of the entire coffee revenues in Kenya come from Kirinyaga. We are number 1 in rice production, not only in Kenya, but in the region. According to economics, najua tutaambiwa mchele ambayo sisi tunakuza haitoshi kulisha Kenya mzima. Lakini kabla hamjaleta mchele kutoka nje, tafadhali store zetu za Mwea zimejaa mchele. Mungechukua hiyo mchele ambayo iko kwa store, alafu ndio sasa tuende maneno ya kuongezea mchele kutoka nje, si ndio? Kwa sababu nisiposema hivyo, wakulima wetu watasema gavana wetu anaangalia tukiteseka na amenyamaza.
You know, Anne Waiguru is a frontline defender of William Samoei Ruto. She comes from Mount Kenya, where the one-term national anthem is taking shape. But she's been a great defender to date, defending William Ruto against Rigathi Gachagua. But you see, when you see Anne Waiguru coming out in public to speak against the importation of rice, you understand that something is wrong. This is grade 1 duty-free rice. And I want us to try and look at, why do you think Kenyans are opposed to this? Is it another political gimmick? Has this been sponsored by the opposition? Is there any genuine reason to stop the importation of rice? Because this case will be heard. It is the judge filed it under certificate of urgency. So why exactly are Kenyans opposed to this? Now, number 1, as we have said, this was done without public participation. And public participation would mean just stakeholders to give their own opinion, so that the reasons why people are now going to court would have been fine-tuned before they passed it even at the cabinet level. People also fear that, as it has always been said, whenever there is a decision by William Ruto, it will be ratified at the cabinet level. You know, at the cabinet, I understand people are supposed to deliberate on something before it is passed. But as always, it is a rubber stamping meeting, whatever Ruto wants. Of course, you know that if he wants something, it can go through the cabinet secretary. So people feel that there's a lot of bullying that does not take into consideration what farmers want. Now, the duty-free rice will be cheaper compared to our local manufactured or produced rice. When something is duty-free, you know what usually happens is that to guard and protect our local manufacturers, when something is imported into the country, there are tariffs. So that you want to buy, for example, a kg of rice, the Kenyan produced one can cost you, let's say, Pishori goes between 180 to 250. That is the Kenyan market. Now, it should be made in such a way that if or when there is any product, let's say another Pishori imported even from India, then that should cost between 300 to 500, so that we protect our manufacturers. Whoever wants to purchase the one that has been imported must be a rich person. But in this case, when this rice is imported, on duty-free condition, then it will be cheaper because there are no taxes levied on it. So they are afraid that this is going to spoil our market. If you listen to Waiguru, there are already rice in their stores. And for you to import, because this importation will be done before or by 31st of December, we only have a few months. So Waiguru was only trying to be polite and nice to William Ruto. But if you listen to her carefully, there is some trust deficit. They believe that the government, once this rice hits the market, their rice will be forgotten in the stores. We have seen some times back farmers pouring out milk that had been stilled in their stores. So they know. And Waiguru is a governor, she has been in government, so she knows what is happening. That's why she was making noise. So there's some fear that apart from the fact that the new market, the new rice will spoil their market, they also feel they will be forgotten. Once it has reached the market, all their rices will be in the store. Some people also feel that this is another ploy. It is a genuine thing. Even maize, sometimes Kenya allows the importation of maize to fill the deficit gap. But many a times, the big fishes find a way of doing business. So many people feel that, okay, this is yet another window of opportunity, another business opportunity for Ruto and his cartels. And you cannot take them to court. What will happen is that he will be doing business through proxies. And people are saying that maybe there should be an opportunity for the smaller fishes around to do these businesses. I remember we were being told by the former Attorney General, J.B. Muturi, that when you see William Ruto ventures into anything, there is money. The tree plantings, exercises, and being at the front line for climate change, he knew something, he was targeting something. You remember how we were being told that there were some deals that were to be signed at the airport. So sometimes when such an opportunity comes out, Kenyans just feel that this is another opportunity for his friends to do business. But at the center of it is the protection of the Kenyan market. And this is exactly why Kenyans are making noise. I would have said that it is, mere political rhetoric. But when I see Anne Waiguru complain, then I know that definitely something is wrong. Had they, involved all the stakeholders before this, all this drama and going to court would have not taken place. But since Kenyans are ignored because they are either fools or mad, this is what happens. As to whether the courts, after hearing, will listen to Kenyans and stop it completely, I don't know. I have a feeling that the court will issue orders to the government or the Minister of Agriculture to pursue and implement certain things before this rice is imported. But as always, even if they will listen to that order, they will say, okay, we have taken into consideration. But even if this rice will be imported before the implementation of the court orders, there's nothing that will happen. After all, we've had a president who told the courts, I will not listen to you. So Anne Waiguru is very happy there because she had complained, and now the courts could be the only savior because all the other independent institutions have been captured. And I don't know what you think, whether this is politics or there are genuine reasons to complain and to go to court. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen?